absolutely. There's a number of things, and this is something that I talk to people about all the time, and it's true. The number one thing, and I know you've heard it a million times, is hand washing. 80% of people who get this virus get it because the virus on their hands has touched their eyes or nose or mouth. We talked about when you take the drops under your tongue, they get absorbed immediately because it's that moist membrane with a high blood supply. You have the same thing in your eyes, you have the same thing in your nose. The viruses we know lives on surfaces, perhaps up to days, certainly for hours. So if you touch a doorknob, a keyboard, your cell phone, your car keys, and you have the virus on your hands, the best thing you can do is wash it. Washing is 10 times as effective as hand sanitizers. People go crazy for hand sanitizers. That weakens the virus, but it doesn't get it off of your hands. So the best thing to do is wash your hands constantly. Once a day, wipe off surfaces. If you're using a disinfectant, if you've got Lysol or something like that, that's great. It has to be wet and stay wet. You can't wipe it and then dry it right away. That doesn't kill the virus. You can use plain old bleach if you didn't get to the store in time and you don't have sanitizer to use on your kitchen counters and your doorknobs and your bathroom counters. 2 tablespoons of bleach and 8 ounces of water. Wipe things. They need to stay wet and air dry. Wipe your doorknobs. You can use rubbing alcohol to wipe your cell phone, your keyboard. Use the disinfectant on your car keys. That is really key. Try not to touch your face. There was a Facebook meme of somebody wearing one of those cone dog collars because we tend to, I caught myself doing it just a minute ago. But if you rub your eyes or you rub your nose and you've got virus on your hands, then you have just incubated your system with that virus. So we have to keep our immune system. We're all around viruses all the time. Most of the time we don't catch them because our immune system's healthy. So that's the reason those things are important. Stress lowers our immune system. That's another reason why the CBD is helpful, is that it helps to quell those stress hormones so that your cortisol isn't sky high, which lowers your immune system. Try to, get some fresh air and sunshine. Back in the old days before antibiotics, that was the treatment, is fresh air and sunshine. For people like us that are, told to, pretty much stay home and don't go out, they are saying it's fine to go out and take a walk, stay 6 feet away from people. But if you're at home and you're working or catching up on projects, set an alarm every couple hours, go out, whether it's on your porch or in your backyard, stretch a little bit, especially in the sunshine, take some deep breaths. That really does help with the stress and the immunity. Everybody's turning to comfort food. Sugar depresses immunity. After you have a high sugar treat, you eat a donut for breakfast or you have a cookie or a brownie, it's comfort food, raises the serotonin, although CBD does that too. But sugar, when your blood sugar elevates, it literally paralyzes your white blood cells for 4 to 6 hours. So think about all of that immunity that would be working against viruses and bacteria. You've just paralyzed it. You've made it sluggish. So it's like trying to walk through quicksand. So if you're going to have something sweet, make it a small portion, have it at the end of the meal when you've got other food in your stomach so it doesn't raise your blood sugar. That will help your immunity. Plenty of water. For your immune system cells to be able to work effectively, they have to be able to circulate through those smallest blood vessels. If you're not well hydrated, that doesn't happen. So, it's back to the old-fashioned wisdom. Wash your hands, don't touch your face, get fresh air, get exercise, drink plenty of water, get enough sleep. If you're not sleeping, your immune system can't operate functionally either. So, make sure that you're getting enough sleep. If you're not sleeping well at night, take a cat nap in the afternoon. That's fine. This is the time to do that. Other things that have proven to be helpful for the immune system, and you hear, everybody and his brother is trying to sell everything under the sun. But vitamin C, we know is helpful. Under normal circumstances, we don't absorb more than 500 milligrams at a time, and the rest just goes out through the urine. But if your system is under stress, we can use 1,000 milligrams 2 or 3 times a day. It's cheap. Doesn't cost a lot. You can get it from, everybody knows about orange juice, but things like, bell peppers have lots of vitamin C there. You can Google vitamin C foods, or if you happen to, have access to vitamin C supplements, they're in short supply right now. But it's a good thing to do, and it does have proven effectiveness. Vitamin C not only helps defend against viruses, but it helps to prevent cytokine storm. It helps the immune system from overreacting and causing lots of inflammation. Elderberry is very helpful. Elderberry syrup, you can find at the drugstore. If you happen to have access to elderberries, you can make your own. But a tablespoon of elderberry syrup a couple times a day is a very effective antiviral that's natural, doesn't have any side effects. Colloidal silver can be helpful. Remember I said that viruses usually start in our nose and throat. So a colloidal silver nose spray morning and evening can help to kill off any viruses that are starting to build up there before they have a chance to move to your lungs. Vitamin D3, in my book, that is the most important thing you can do on a daily basis for your immune system. We know people who have adequate vitamin D3 just don't get, bacterial and viral infections as much. I personally take 5,000 units of D3 every day, 365 days a year. The holistic clinic that I used to run, when we had someone who was exposed to flu, if they called and said, my husband just got the flu, what can I do? We had them take 20,000 units a day for 3 days. You don't want to do that long term, but making sure that your body is filled with vitamin D3 is important. We already talked about turmeric and combining it with black pepper. That's important. Ginger is antiviral. Ginger tea is great. You can just grate some raw ginger, or even use powdered ginger in hot water. The heat from that definitely helps. So lots of things that we can do that are not very sophisticated. Another thing that I tell people to do, very simple, but we don't always think about it, is when you're out and about, out in the community, or you're going to work, when you come home, take off your shoes at the front door. Don't track through the house, especially if you've got carpeting and surfaces that aren't real easy to disinfect. Just removing your shoes at the front door and wearing slippers inside can make a difference. Be careful if you go to the grocery store and you're bringing home the bags, don't put them up on your kitchen counter. They've been sitting on surfaces that may be contaminated, so sit them on the floor, unload them that way. So just common sense things, but making sure that your immune system is in top shape to, we're all going to get some level of exposure. We try to keep it to a minimum, but if the immune system's healthy, we should be able to battle it successfully.